What's poppin', everybody? Welcome back to Visionary Talks, episode 7. Today I have a new guest with me. His name is Blair Kahler. I'm gonna let him introduce himself real quick.
What's up, guys? It's Blair. 19. I go to MVCC Community College. I'm sure a lot of you guys do too. Hopefully I'll see you guys there this semester.
Oh yeah.
And just keep working hard and stuff.
For sure. So what are you going to MV for?
So I'm going for general studies right now. But I plan if my plans don't work out until I get that degree, I'm probably gonna end up doing business. I'll do 2 years of business.
For sure.
And then learn a trade and then start a business in that trade eventually.
That's smart. What trade are you thinking about specifically?
That's a hard question. I'd probably think about welding. My dad's got experience in welding. But that wouldn't even doing a trade a trade is a really good path. It's a solid path, but that's definitely not it's not the first card in my deck lined up for me. But if I end up getting to that point, I'll just have to trust God that he'll show me the right trade and the right path to go.
For sure. So you said that's not the first card. What's the first card then?
It's a wild card. It's a joker, if you will.
Okay.
I really admire what you're doing with this podcast, and you're building yourself towards passive income, and we've talked about that, and that's definitely a goal that I have in mind as well. And obviously, if you're working in a trade, you can't make money passively. You got to work every day.
Yeah. And
there's nothing wrong with that. It's actually really admirable, and I'd say that it's due to my personally, it's due to my laziness that I don't want to do that. But I also feel like there's paths in life where you can affect other people in a very positive way, like for instance what you're doing right now, and that's kind of the footsteps I kind of want to follow in.
For sure.
Make music too.
Of course, yeah. I remember what was the name? Mikaya?
Yeah, B Moon K, bro.
bro.
That
was hilarious.
Yeah, we changed that name since then. You can call me Blaine from now on, folks. And B Moon K was the old Blaine.
What was the first song? It was Scissor Static or
something. Yeah, it was.
That's funny.
I'm happy you remembered that.
Yeah.
It wasn't the best song, the best work I could have done, but it was a start.
It was something.
I got a lot more love for that than I thought I would. I thought a lot of people would give me hate.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I realized, I'm sure you realized it too, you do your own thing, people are going to tell you can't, they're going to say not to do it. But once you go to do it, now they're asking you how you did it, what are you doing, they get interested and they start following you. So
exactly.
I came out with that song and I kind of thought I'd probably get made fun of a lot for that. And to my surprise, there was, of course that happened, but I got some love for that too, and I really that made me a happier person overall.
Yeah, and even if other people don't like it, you still got to do what makes you happy.
Yeah.
So I mean, at least you tried it out, gave your shot at it. With your future plans, you said you want to go to trade and stuff like that. Is there anything else specifically that you have planned right now that you're trying to get into?
Well, fortunately, I just started working at Wendy's, and I just got to talking to my new employees and stuff. And there's one kid who makes music, and I've been hanging out with him for a couple of days now. We've been making some music and stuff. So it seems like I don't want to speak too soon on it, but it seems like we're moving in the right direction. And not only that, it seems as if God or the universe is putting things. I've been trying to manifest that for a while, and it seemed like for the longest time nothing was going to happen.
Yeah.
And now it is. So it's a very good feeling to finally see the fruits of your thought. And come to fruition.
Yeah, of course. And it's weird. You see the patterns and the synchronicities that just pop up, and it's oh shit, this is happening.
Yeah.
It's it just kind of happens out of nowhere.
Yeah, and one of the biggest eye openers for those synchronicities for me in life was shrooms. I remember I did shrooms maybe 1, 2, 3 times, or obviously it was more than 1 or 2 or 3 times, but I'm not gonna say just how much it was. But there's a lot of things about life that we choose to not pay attention to or not confront, but it's unavoidable. You know what I'm saying? And it's certain things for example, like, you know, the fact that you don't know where you were before life and you don't know where you are going to go afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's people, you know, everybody's got that circumstance in common, like, unless you're, you know, Jesus or something. But other than that, you know, nobody knows where they came from. Nobody knows where they're going before this life. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I think it's important to try and figure out the best mindset to keep under those circumstances, and you know, try to make it through life with positivity and love for others, because it'll always come back, like you said, like synchronized, and
reciprocates, always.
And as soon as you're aware of the fact that there's synchronicities and things reciprocate, you know, I think a lot of people intrinsically know that, and they choose to still put out negative energy and bad energy. But for someone who knows that, you know, you've upgraded a lot and you got a lot of power. So it's like you wouldn't want to you know, do that, because with greater power comes with great responsibility.
Yes, of course.
And it's just, you know, people. I think people would rather lose themselves or lose their awareness to a certain extent. They find the, you know, ignorance is bliss thing, and that could be true to an extent. But bliss isn't. Bliss doesn't have longevity. Bliss isn't something that you can experience all day, every day.
Yeah.
Bliss is a moment, and, you know, to be ignorant in the moment and that
got a little biker going by right now.
But yeah, to be ignorant and bliss in the moment and be content with that, you know, it's just a lie to oneself. Like you gotta try and figure out the truth, and you gotta strive to know things, and that way you can actually build true happiness. And, you know, one thing that I learned in life, it took me, the day I learned this was the most upsetting day of my life. Like, I was like the most unhappy person the day I learned that happiness is simply a choice.
Yep.
And not only is it a choice, you got to choose to get happiness, but that doesn't mean you're going to have it right away. You got to work for it. It's not even a right. You know, in our own Constitution, we say every man's got the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Not happiness, the pursuit of happiness.
It comes down to you.
Yeah, so it's not something that people think they deserve to be happy, and you know, you deserve to be happy if you're making others happy, if you're trying to make yourself happy, if you're doing the right things.
Yeah, for sure.
But otherwise, you know, how could you say that you deserve to be happy? Because to be happy is to, you know, that's like a reward almost, in a way, for a life that, you know, you chose to live.
And like you said, it's hard to, like, you said it was your saddest day, because it's hard to, like, you know, take that in at first. It's like, damn, like, this starts with me. Like, I have to do the work initially to get to that point, and it's, like, overwhelming. Yeah,
it's like, bro, like, no one's ever, like, said it back to me like that, where, like, I knew they understood how I was saying it, bro, and, like, or how I meant it. And, like, it was, dude, because it was, like, bro, like, I didn't, you know, I don't know this but I don't remember asking to be on this planet. You know what I'm saying? I don't remember asking.
You just showed up one day.
Yeah, I don't remember asking for any of this, but it's here, so it's like... It's like that's what it came down to, was either I'm going to play the victim card and justify myself being unhappy and taking the easy way out, or I'm going to embrace the pain and discomfort of the truth, and that way I'll be unbreakable. And those are like the two, that was the fork in the road that I faced, and it was painful until I finally, you know, steered myself just enough in the right direction where I feel like I'm progressing enough now.
Yeah, for sure. And, like, usually it sounds weird, but you don't really recognize it at first, like, yourself. Like, you'll be doing stuff, and, like, some days it'll feel worse than others, and then all of a sudden someone will come up to you and they'll be like, yo, I saw you've been doing this. I saw you've been doing that. Yeah. And it's just like,
it's like,
shit, maybe it is working.
Yeah. It's like you'll be down on yourself and shit, and you'll feel like terrible or off or whatever. Maybe just like a string of events went by that just like put you down. And right when you're, you know, throwing your hands up and shit, that's when, you know, someone comes around, hey, you know, good job, you know, and it's just like, fuck.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, damn, bro, I had a reason to be upset. Yeah. Now I know. And you know, that's and then you got to look at that and be like, you know, is that how I really feel? Do I crave being unhappy? You know, are there people who crave the unhappiness because it provides them with a distraction or an excuse to not do what they know they should be doing?
Yeah.
And you know, one thing in human psychology that's really like kind of hard to wrap the mind around is the parent parent-child relationship, because it's like everything your parents tell you, you tend to believe.
Yeah,
you know?
it's like programming.
Yeah, it's like programming.
Even if it's not true.
Exactly. It's like they're imprinting not only their genetics on you, but their mentality, their beliefs. And it's a tough thumb to get out from underneath. And it takes a lot of pain and sometimes,
discipline.
And sometimes you gotta...
It's tough love, too, because sometimes, like, they'll be like, all right, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
They'll see it, and they're like, do you not like me anymore? Like, is there a problem here? Like,
nah.
It's tough.
And you start, like, there's a certain unspoken communication at a certain point in your life where your parents try to kind of push the identity of an adult on you. Like, all of a sudden you're an adult now.
Yeah.
Like, and they think that, they don't, that excuses them from teaching you a lot more than, and there's times when parents deem their children as adults too early, and their children need to know more, and they need to be taught more, and nobody's...
They're not fully developed yet.
Yeah, nobody's perfect. There's no perfect parent out there. But at the end of the day, like, that being said, we should look more to ourselves, deem ourselves adults, deem ourselves ready to learn, and you got to disconnect from your parents' programming in order to reach your max potential.
Yeah, and you got to listen to your thoughts too. Like, so your thoughts, they can be bad if you identify with them. So, for example, like, let's say when you had like that terrible like time in your life where everything was just going downhill, it's because you kept believing those thoughts.
Yeah.
If you can break away from those thoughts and be like, this is not me, this is my ego talking to me, I'm gonna actually listen to me and my consciousness and make something out of that.
That's a great way to put it, bro. And
it's
like,
confusing, but
it's like
simple.
Yeah, and it's like people have the ability to gain like the knowledge that you're speaking right now and I'm speaking right now, but the problem with it is they'd rather ignore it. They ignore it. Like, ignore is the root word to ignorance, and it's just like they'd rather be in ignorance because it provides them with excuses, and they don't take responsibility if they're ignorant.
Yeah,
and
it's more comforting too.
Yeah, it's just and leaders like yourself, like who choose to find the truth. Like you're killing so many birds with one stone at this point. Like you're doing something that you could potentially make money off of. You're putting your name out there. You're helping people. You're providing people with a platform where they can learn. And on top of that, you're getting to know individuals on this platform, and taking what you choose from that experience away from it. And that's just like, there's a lot of people, dude, that want to be where you are right now and want to be doing what you're doing.
I appreciate that.
I want people
awesome.
to know, like this type of thing right here that Ian's doing is like the future, dude. It's like, this is the truth. Like, you got to be on your. You can't wait. There are synchronicities. You can think things into existence, but that doesn't mean you can't act them into existence either. You can't always just sit down and hope.
Just like manifest it. Like, it's gonna come. Like, you still gotta get up and take the necessary like steps and action.
Exactly.
Every single day, or else nothing's gonna change.
Exactly. And I don't. It's just there's a lot of complicated points and details about the knowledge that we share right now, but like. And it's not always so hard to put into words, but I feel as if people like I became a believer in the fact that people have all the answers. You ever like argue with your parents like, oh, you have all the answers? Yeah. I'm me.
We all have the answers.
Yeah, like, I don't like your answers. So it's like at the end of the day, like. And I want to kind of touch on religion too, but
I was gonna get into that.
Yeah, for me, I was born and raised in a Catholic church where we're expected to believe that the church has all the answers, the church knows everything the church teaches is correct, and there's a lot of truth in the church and there's a lot of good in the church, but that doesn't mean it's pure. Like, it's a pure form of either of those things. There's mistakes that were made, there's troubles, there's things probably behind the scenes and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's multiple other religions too, so it's like
exactly
that's where it gets interesting.
That's where I could tie that into my parents, because as they brought me up in that environment, they expect me to be a devout a devout Catholic.
Yeah.
And I was for the longest time, bro. I remember I was an altar server for a long time, years. And
was that last year?
Nah.
When did you like
I
fully break out of it?
Yeah, I quit that like 3-4 years ago.
Okay.
And then I still went to church like on a regular weekly basis since then, up until about last year. And what I realized is, there's always, we have to maintain, we have to live. If we could truly be satisfied with anything, life would stop.
Oh, yeah.
There'd be no point for it anymore because we're satisfied.
And, like, just like if you don't die at any point, like, what are you here for? Like, it just gets boring. It's like, I'm never going to die. Like, what am I here to fulfill?
Yeah,
like,
that's facts.
Yeah.
And people, like, have that void feeling of, like, we got to keep going. There must be not something that we haven't done yet. Or whatever, and they try to attach something to that so they can identify that feeling better. And like for a lot of people, that's their religion.
Yep.
For a lot of people, that might be their favorite song or their favorite music or whatever.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you can't let any one thing completely identify you as a person. And my parents, where I found that their error was they would identify their entire identity with being a Christian.
Yeah.
Or a Catholic, and everything that came out of like I seen my dad, like he tried. Like, I love him for this specifically. I love him overall, but I love him for this specifically because it taught me so much. When someone's trying to convince you of things, they're really trying to convince themselves. If they really keep trying to push it, they're really just trying to convince themselves. And once they get you on board, that gives them more of a reason to believe in themselves. So I see my dad, and he would go out, and he even joined like a missionary group, and they'd knock on doors, and they'd talk to people. They'd open the door, they'd talk to them, and they, some people didn't want to hear it. They'd shut the door in their face. But other people were interested. But I seen him doing this like in person, and I realized he's centering like. He's not doing a bad thing, but he is misguiding people because he's focusing too much on the rules and the interpretations of other people and stuff.
Yep.
And saying that these are the guidelines to life. And the thing is, like the Bible, for example, bunch of wisdom. I don't feel safe saying anything bad about the Bible because I don't. You never know, bro. But to me, there's a lot of wisdom and there's probably a lot of truth in there. But it's not like God made you the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Like we aren't physically a copy of the Bible. So it's like we cannot identify our entire life around the Bible. And we like you
it's
said,
like a tool.
Yeah, like it starts with you, just like you said.
You get into like Buddhism at all? You ever look into that?
Yeah, and what's ironic, in confession, like in the Catholic Church, there's confession.
Yeah.
That's and on a little side note, that's probably like one of, if not the most admirable thing about the church that I hold in my heart is from living through the church is confession. Because if you do something wrong, bad, like you do something bad, and it's not just up to you to perceive it as bad, it's just bad in general, and you don't tell anyone about it, you have not paid for that crime at all, basically. Or you will never be able to fully pay for it until you admit that you've done it.
Yeah.
And otherwise it's going to come back around in other ways. So I really appreciate confession, and when I was there for confession one time, I asked the priest, because my parents would literally ask me to go to confession, which is like very contradicting, because it's like you're not supposed to judge people. You're not supposed to tell people that they need to go confess something. Yeah. And it's like you shouldn't be pushing that on me. It should be my choice at the end of the day.
And then you feel judged when you say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, but I go there and I ask the priest, I'm like, so have you ever studied any other religion? And I kind of like wanted to test him, because I'm like, I'm not going to be this dude's best friend, so there's no need for me to act like he's Jesus, you know what I'm saying? And like, I'm like, so have you ever studied any other religion? And he told me, he said Buddhism. That was the only one he said.
Really?
Yeah, he said Buddhism. And he said, but I look at it as more of a philosophy and not a religion. And that's okay. That's pretty true. Yeah. That's pretty true, because like they don't worship any type of god or anything in Buddhism. It's all centered around the self. Like you said.
The chakras and everything.
Yeah. And you know, they actually believe that nirvana, that like state you can reach, if you reach that, they believe that you are above deities. Like you're literally, like we have the potential to be above deity. That's what they believe in Buddhism, and that's crazy to me, bro.
Do you believe on heaven on earth and hell on earth? Well, or is that more of like a afterlife thing?
Well, earth is earth.
Yeah.
Heaven and hell on earth,
there state of mind?
Because there couldn't be a heaven or hell on earth without us, you know what I'm saying?
True.
So it has to be a state of mind at the end of the day. And I think heaven and hell in general in every religion is a state of mind. It's perpetual, like, dread, perpetual torment, but it's all self-inflicted at the end of the day. Maybe there's a lot of middlemen in between you doing something and it being inflicted on you, but it's all self-inflicted. So, so like, hell is a choice. And I believe if you sat here and like, say for example, like, you know, and not to be insensitive, but like the person who got arrested, I'm not going to go to a specific person, but let's say someone killed 2-3 people, right? Right then and there, they're probably in a state of hell in their mind. Yeah. But if they sat there and they didn't do anything to themselves and nothing happened to them, and they just
thought about it,
thought so deeply and desired so deeply to be forgiven or like out of that state of mind, it will happen for them. Yeah. They will be forgiven. Yeah. If Hitler did that, he would have been forgiven.
Yeah, like, it sounds crazy, but like,
it's true.
It's true.
It's true, and people want to say, you know, fuck Hitler. Like how the fuck could he be forgiven for shit? You know, you know what he did. Yeah, but like, dude, like, wouldn't you want to be forgiven for anything that you've done? Like, and so how could you sit here and deny someone else mercy and then ask for it yourself? Yeah,
and that's funny how you said that. I just read the book, The Mastery of Love. I was telling you about that, and it's basically about heaven and hell. Like, it's all state of mind. Hell is fear. Heaven is love. Yeah. And so it all starts within you, like I said. So if you can tap into love within,
dude, that is cool, bro.
It builds like everything around you. Like, you see everything more vibrantly. The people around you are attracted to you, like, do the same energy.
Phrase of the fucking month, bro. Yeah? Like what you just said, bro. I've never heard before, bro.
Really?
Because my thing was, I always used to say, good is love and bad is hate, but hate is a derivative of love. So it's like if you took some chocolate and you mixed in vanilla, there's still chocolate there, bro. But there's just vanilla now too. Yeah. And it's like you know, if you mix those flavors together, it's probably gonna still taste like chocolate more so. It's still love. It's probably gonna taste like it's something like love, but it's not completely. And hate is like a tarnished version of love. It's like, but now I'm gonna revise that because of what you said. I'm gonna say hate is love mixed with fear. That's where you get hate from. Yeah. And it's like you love someone, but you're afraid of that. You're afraid of the circumstances. You're afraid of the future. You have anxiety about it. Now you hate. That turns to hate. Your fear is because anger defeats fear. Yeah. If you can get angry, you won't be as afraid. Yeah, for sure. So that's hatred right there in a nutshell, and that's why I just had that epitome right there. I was like, dude, you just fucking helped me figure some shit out, bro.
And then you talked about forgiveness, too. That was also talked about in the book, how about forgiveness is like the center of everything. Like, if you can't forgive, it's just going to stay in that state of, you know, fear and hell or whatever. Like, if someone doesn't talk to you or, you know, ignores you for, like, a week, like, oh, I hate that person. Like, you're not forgiving them. But once you forgive them, maybe they'll come back and, like, start talking to you again.
Yeah, that's facts.
Something like that.
That's facts. But, and I had some trouble with that recently, bro, because it's like, I have I had some friends that I've been hanging out with more recently than I have before recently, and by recently I mean a couple years, maybe 2 years. And you know, I felt like there's a lot of things about certain people in that group. I found myself finding something wrong with everyone, you know what I'm saying? And not really looking enough back at myself. But
it's like you could see your insecurities in other people.
Yeah. What you don't like about someone else is probably something you do. Yeah. So it's like it's or else you wouldn't have noticed it. Yeah. And for me it's like you know, there was different things that it came down to some money and stuff like that. There was different things that had me upset. But I continuously forgive people or friends or just people in general, and I'm always happy that I did that. I'm always like, now a week later we're sitting down and you got my back when I need it because I forgave you, but I would be alone right now if I didn't forgive you.
Yeah, exactly.
And
people make it harder than it has to be.
Yeah. But you know, it all comes down to one thing that I think the next state of like human consciousness, like is kind of like moving from verbal communication to just body language and literally like telepath. Like as crazy as that sounds,
yeah,
bro.
no, but yeah, it's
like it's really like that. Because look at dolphins, bro. Like they make this noise, like echolocation, and they know what each other's saying. Like we haven't figured that shit out. I
feel like we can though. Like I feel like there's some people who definitely know how to. Like if you're on the same wavelength as people, you can kind of like just look at them, and then all of a sudden, like, you can understand what they're saying.
Yeah,
like,
with people, it's already starting to happen.
Yeah.
Especially with like we're getting so interconnected with like technology now. It's like it's giving us a boost in that direction. And I remember I was in Florida like a couple months back, and it was in June, and we were watching some dolphins in the water, and I asked the guy showing us, like the tour guide. Yeah. I'm like, bro, like they're really smart. Like we see that they're doing crazy shit right now. They know we're here. Like we can tell they're aware. Yeah. Like so like. That noise they make to each other, like the echolocation, like is that a language? Like and the dude said, like he's like, dude, like we've had scientists on that shit for the longest time, and we cannot figure out exactly what they mean, what they're saying and shit. But one thing we did figure out is the same exact species of dolphin in different areas of the world have accents.
Really?
Yeah, and almost like a different language.
What?
It's like
so kind of like
echolocation, but it's different, and it's the same.
That's insane.
Yeah, bro. Like they're smart as shit, bro. They're mad
wild.
smart. And like learning shit like that, bro. That always used to make me feel so like insecure about being a person, bro. Because it's like what the fuck, bro. it's like bro, we're so into everything.
It's like we're so concerned about the little things. It's like these dolphins are just swimming, fucking
and like
noises.
Look at these animals and shit. They're all just fucking like birds living. And shit. They just live, bro. And like it's like we're all
we're caught up on the next text message, the next TV show that's coming, like all this stupid shit. Like
and like all we could literally just be swimming in the ocean and be just as smart and just as happy, bro. And like sometimes, bro, that thought just like
that's crazy to think about.
Yeah, I look at my cat and shit, and I'm like, bro, like you can definitely know things, bro. Like you're definitely like at least there a little bit. Like you're smart. Like you know something. Yeah. Like you don't think in terms of language, but you know, like it's just like if I make a noise, like we could teach cats. Like how could you teach something that can't know?
Yeah, that's like how you train dogs. Like how do they learn stuff? You train them. That's just how it is. Yeah. And so with animals too, so we're the only species that has consciousness. Did you know that?
Consciousness in the sense that we understand it, I believe. But I believe that there's all levels and you know different categories, I guess, of consciousness. Because like I remember I was little and I was looking at when we were little, we'd look at the ants and shit on the ground. Yeah. And we'd like fuck with them and like flick them, spit on them. Yeah, we'd do whatever. And like I remember I was very little. I asked my brother, I was like, does the ant know like what's going on? Like I was just asking him, does he like know shit? Is he he aware? And like and so many words, like I didn't say it like that, but and like he was like nah man, that's a fucking ant, bro. It doesn't know shit, bro.
It's not that deep, bro.
So I'm like but wait, I took a stick and I hit it on the ground next to the ant, and I seen him run like twice as fast in the other direction. I'm like, he knew something just happened. He's fucking dead.
No, they're definitely aware. Like they have that inner knowing.
They feel fear. Yeah. If they could feel fear, they could feel like love, I think. Yeah. And if they can feel fear and love, then they must have something going on. But
I feel like they don't have the like extreme consciousness to where like they can choose what to do with their next like steps in life, because it's like they're just programmed to fucking crawl around the ground and pick up food.
I like how you use the word program. Yeah, it's a cool word. But dude, the thing is like we were talking about religions and shit. I wish I knew more about other religions. I really that's one thing I don't know. I know I don't know enough about. Yeah. But I do know a little bit about each one. But mostly, obviously, I know about the Catholic one. And I think the Old Testament is really the book that people should read because people misunderstand Jesus as like, people think of him as like God himself, bro. But like if say I was a fish tank, right? Could I then become a fish tank in my own fish tank? Like, could I then, like, turn my whole self into, like, a fish tank? Or, like, could I turn myself into, like, could I be the tank and the fish at the same time is what I'm trying to say. Okay. Like, only God can, I guess, because he technically is.
You had a very crazy, like, vision, like, at lunch last year during lunch. You remember? It was about, like, the fish being trapped in, like, the fish tank. and how like
we can't tell what's outside of it because we only live within it.
Yeah,
that was like the dimensions.
Yeah,
we live within like the third or fourth dimension, so we would never be able to understand the fifth. Because we can't observe it from an outside perspective.
Okay.
And the only way to,
so we only know what we are in
what
right
we
now.
are and what we are in.
Yeah, that's so deep, bro. It's crazy.
And but dude, I was gonna say, like, in Genesis, which is like apparently like the story of creation, there's a lot of metaphors in that book that people just like, they like the first argument they'll say, oh, God made this in 7 days. God made this. Nah, man, nah, fuck that. It's like, dude, obviously not, bro. Okay, no. Like, no, he didn't make it in 7 days, but like that's figurative and like, but what I was gonna say is like, he one of the first phrases is, man was made in the image of God. So I think that's where we're different from animals, is because we were given domain over them. We can defeat any species of animal on our own planet. So not in physical hand-to-hand fucking combat. Like if Harambe wanted to beat my ass, I'm dead, bro. But
yeah,
I could always.
On you, bro.
But look at where Harambe is, bro.
Yeah,
he ain't here no more.
He's gone.
Why is he gone? Because we're here.
Yeah.
And like so. I feel like God I don't like saying the word God because I don't understand what that is to a fullest extent. But
so the universe?
Yeah. I feel like it gave us the top spot on the food chain, and I feel like that does make us different from the other animals around us. We have more power, so we have more responsibility. And I think another difference that brings, like, if a dolphin, like, think about it, if a dolphin had hands.
Yeah.
How much further would they be in their civilization?
That's true.
Like they're smart enough. If they had hands, they'd be building.
Like
shit.
we have everything we need, really.
Yeah, there's apes and monkeys and shit like that are starting to build shit, and they think they're like going into the Stone Age, bro. But it comes down to hands.
Yeah, no, it does.
It comes down to hands, bro. That's where our mind is different. Like we control 10 limbs on each.
Yeah, and that's the thing. People aren't grateful for that. Like you have to wake up every morning and be like, damn, I got 5-10 functioning fingers that can like allow me to do shit on the daily. Like if I didn't have these things, I couldn't do anything.
Couldn't do nothing.
Like,
wouldn't even be here.
Yeah.
But you know what the craziest thing about the hands that I figured out was?
Huh.
I was like, I remember at one point I was just smacked, bro, because I do smoke. So I was really high, and I remember I was sitting there looking at my hands, bro, and I'm like, I started thinking about I don't know. I just started deep thinking. I started thinking about math, and I'm like, yo, I'm like, no, I'm serious. I'm like, yo, they talk about like the Mayans and shit, like how they came up with zero. And shit. Yeah. It's like, bro, who told who that after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
goes up
we go back,
10,
bro.
yeah, back to
who
zero.
The fuck said that's how it works? Why isn't it 9? Why isn't it 8?
Yeah,
10 fingers, bro. We got 10 fingers. So that's how our mind is programmed.
That's deep, bro. That's like...
It's deep and, like, not deep. It's one of them things.
It's like,
fuck.
It's like, damn.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah. It's like, what is this? Like,
yeah, that's how I felt when I looked it up and fucking that I was showed that answer, bro, on the internet. I'm like, okay, some dude who failed most of his college exams probably answered this correctly, and I'm sitting here tweaking out, bro, because I didn't know it, but... That's just a humble, you know. There's things like, bro, like I remember what you were just saying about fear and love, bro. I thought I had that shit figured out, bro, and you just made my shit better. In a different
context, yeah.
Your perspective was better than mine on that, and like that was like a humbling experience. But I didn't feel humble. I felt grateful, bro, that you said that.
Of course. What's your thoughts on when people say life is a simulation?
I
believe it?
I love it when they say that, because it's like, bro, what the fuck's a simulation? if this, like, dude, if you're deeming our existence a simulation, then, you know, what's a simulation?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of calling it that if it doesn't change what it is?
Yeah.
And to me, it's like okay, if say we were just what it looks like if you go super far deep into an atom and then you just find another little universe somewhere in there.
You ever think about
and
that,
then
bro?
And then like Horton, here's a who. That's that, and like that's us.
Yeah.
Like what if it is, bro? Like we're
I
chilling.
got deep into that one. I was just thinking, I was like, what the fuck? Like, what is a universe? Like, there's all these atoms. Like, I'm thinking, like, there's another universe, like, chilling right in this world right here. You ever think about that shit? Like, just
There's probably
stupid ass shit like
there
that.
There is,
like,
bro. There is, like,
it's crazy.
There's a whole there's a whole world of like animals that live on wood that can't survive on metal.
Yeah.
And like that's all they know is wood. That's their universe. It's just wood. And
that's
like
crazy.
To us, that would be space.
Yeah.
Like we can't survive in a different type of environment, but we obviously don't know 100% the answer to that question. But I just think it's really funny because you got a lot of these smart, really, really smart people like Neil deGrasse Tyson, Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
You know, you just got all these smart people, and they say the word simulation like it's like oh shit. It's like, bro, if it's a simulation, bro, it's still the same thing. It's like it didn't change anything. Yeah. Like so, it could be, bro. Like
who's running the simulation? Like if
us.
Yeah. If we're part of the simulation, who's running that shit? Like
I mean. Yeah, like Neil deGrasse Tyson had said, like if we are a simulation, then there's got to be a billion before us, and that first like universe would be the first one. But the reason I don't believe in like, one thing I started reading was like the non-canonical. You know, like canon is like shit that belongs. It's like part of the main story or whatever. But they call these non-canonical gospels. So it's like gospels that were that were supposed to be in the Bible, but they during the I think it was Constantine had he had a meeting. Dude, there's like the name of this like meeting. It like set up the Bible. They literally created the Bible at this meeting because Constantine made his whole empire Catholic or Christian. Yeah. And they neglected or rejected a lot of different pieces of scripture that would have opened people's minds to their to be more self-dependent in their interpretations of wisdom or like those like prophecies or what was said. And like basically in the Gospel of Thomas, like it says that Jesus said that, someone asked Jesus, he said tell us about the end times, and Jesus said, well, have you found the beginning? Because if you haven't found the beginning, like there's no end. So it's like have you found the beginning where you can now go and find the end? Because the beginning is the end. And
that's crazy.
Yeah, there can't be an end if we can't find a beginning, bro. And like
I feel like I'm gonna go on a tangent too. So like, you ever hear the quote where it's like, we all live two lives, the second begins when you realize you only have one? So it's like, once you tap in to what you're really here for, that's when your life begins.
Yeah, you're born again. Yeah. That's
so it's like I'm not gonna just talk about me, but like I feel like that kind of I just molded into like this new person after high school.
Dude, I remember back in high school and shit. I remember we like we said, we had lunch together and shit. Yeah. And I remember like we were always tight. We were always cool. Yeah. And like I remember I would go there and I'd have this like kind of like ecstatic, like not ecstatic, but this kind of like mania energy, like where it was just like I would be like super hyper. I'd just say random
bouncing
shit
around.
But sometimes I'd really try to share knowledge and stuff that I felt like I had.
Yeah, no, I would listen.
You were the only person who sat there and listened, bro. Yeah. And then like 2-3 years down the road, I saw that you were doing your own thing, and I got mad, bro. I'm like, bro, I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, bro, Ian is doing better than me right now, bro. And like I was trying to,
you're fighting against yourself.
Yeah, I was like, I know I could be doing this, bro. And like Ian's doing better than everyone right now. And like he actually like you made me ambitious, bro. Like when I saw that you're putting your knowledge to the down to your work, like, and you're actually applying things to your life. Like I've been blessed in the area of life where it comes to being shown certain things, I guess, but I never was good at putting that shit to work, bro. I was never good at, I could share it with people, but I can't fucking apply it to myself. Yeah. And that's one of my biggest pitfalls, bro. And like, so like, I don't know, I just want to say you inspired me, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
I'm glad I could. But I feel like you said, I don't know, you just have to kind of listen to yourself and like just kind of like understand like what you want. Like it's hard to take the action to get there, but you have to like fully understand like, all right, if I'm gonna make this happen, I gotta take, like I have to go all in, or else I like fail myself.
Yeah, because you might want one thing or the other thing.
Yeah,
you might want shit to be easy, and you might also want something that takes a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
So it's like, shit, bro.
It's
like what
you're
do I
at a
want
crossroads.
more?
Like you're like right in the middle, and it's like you ever see that path where it's like, I think it was from the book Think and Grow Rich. It's talking about how like we're all on this one path when we're like going through school and shit, and then once we get into the real world, it kind of veers off into like a Y, and most people go to the left and follow the crowd, while there's only like a few people who are like the black sheep of the family or like the lone wolves and go do their own shit.
Yeah, that's true. That's big facts, bro. Like it's leading wouldn't be so important. A leader wouldn't be such an important person if there was a lot of them.
Yeah.
Like there's not many leaders, especially now. Like it's so easy to be misled that people aren't able to lead themselves or lead others because they're misled themselves. Like, one thing that's like a good example of that is just like the word for that, I guess I could say, is hypocrisy.
Yeah.
And like that was one thing that I didn't like about when my parents is like they would tell me not to do things, and I wouldn't see them do it like that.
Yeah.
And it was always like they would always just shut me down. I'm your parent, like you can't say shit. And you're right, bro.
They'd like close off another doorway in your life where it's like,
all
right, that's gone. Like I can't do that anymore.
It makes you afraid, kind of.
Yeah.
And then you start hating, and like that's how I was starting to feel. Like I was like, oh, so these rules that you're making me live my life by, they're not important enough for you to live by. And like and sometimes that's an ignorant way of thinking of things, because sometimes people just learn the hard way and they don't want you to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
But also, I think it's just important. I think it's also important for kids to kind of be more patient with their parents, because in today's day and age, we're getting so much information from other sources that we're bringing it back and like hitting our parents with that shit, and like they're not used to that. Bro. Like,
it's like new. Like, we're all learning.
Yeah, and like
no matter how old you are.
And like there's things they can teach you about life that you can't learn on a screen, but there's things that you can learn on a screen that they might disagree with and be wrong about. Yeah. And it's just like I learned at one point in my life, my parents aren't God. I thought they were, but they're not. And, I can't hold them to that standard anymore. I got to realize that, they did the best they could. Yeah. And they did what they did at the end of the day. And I'm here, and I have a lot to be grateful for. So of course, why shouldn't I be grateful for my parents? Why shouldn't I be patient with them, or, understanding of their shortcomings? Because they were with me this whole time.
And like you said, like growing up, like, for me personally, I was like probably the most unconscious kid ever. Like I didn't understand what this was. Like I was just kind of like going around like doing the daily like random work.
I could read that off you. I could read that off you back then, bro.
Yeah, like I was literally I just woke up and did shit and went to sleep. Like I didn't really understand why I was here.
Because you questioned things.
Like I was always like looking at stuff. I'm like, why is it like this? Why is that like that? Like I'd always be confused. And then I realized like if you want to have like the qualities of this type of person you want to become, like it's different for everybody. Like it doesn't happen immediately, like
100%.
When you're like 15, 16. Like it happened for me when I was like 18. And so you just you got to be patient with the process, trust the process, and then you have to develop the qualities of that person you want to become by idolizing your idols, for example. So like for me it was like Kobe Bryant.
That's a good one.
Who was another one? It was Kobe Bryant. David Goggins was one of them. It was like Eric Thomas. Because I used to listen to all these fucking like motivational speeches, and so it just kind of like got me in like the mind space of like, all right, I'm one of these guys now. Like I'm with them. Like they're my mentors, and so I just kind of like stuck with it, blocked off everything, and just.
That's painful too, to let go of all the other shit that you were surrounded with.
Yeah, and then everybody else is questioning you. They're like, what are you doing? Like why don't you want to hang out with us anymore? Like why don't you talk to us? It's like, I'm not talking to anybody. I'm just sitting alone doing me.
Why are you still doing what you're doing? Why are you still going around doing the same fucking
like, are
shit?
you happy where you're at?
Yeah,
like,
obviously not if you're worried about where someone else is. Yeah, and like to me, bro, like it's like fucking I don't know, bro. I think like you're a person who was blessed with a higher level of understanding. Like you say, like you kind of talk down about how you said you were unconscious.
Yeah.
That's not true. You were just hyper conscious, bro, and like
True.
no one else was, bro. So like you fell out
so
of place.
I was different.
Yeah,
I was like, I didn't understand. Like,
dude, I kind of felt like that too, bro. Like,
I can tell you're definitely like you're higher vibrational compared to most people.
I appreciate that, bro. I really do. You are too, bro.
Appreciate that.
And but for me, dude, like I remember, like I had to learn the hard way that conforming to other people is not a good thing, because I chased a lot of like clout. I chased
the
like
clout, dude.
Yeah, I chased that shit.
The hype beast shit.
I chased popularity. I chased people's admiration and shit like that, bro. But then I'd go home every night, bro, and I'd be thinking about what other people were thinking and thinking about what other people are doing.
Yeah.
And I wasn't comfortable enough to just be alone in my thoughts and just be
That's
alone.
That's the hardest part too, just sitting alone and being okay with yourself.
Yeah, like you know, and that's true, bro. Being alone is the worst pain like someone can experience,
It really
but we
is.
all do.
But it's the best medicine too.
Yeah. Dude, God, if there is a Godhead, he's alone, bro. There's no one else for him, bro.
Yeah.
So imagine how much pain God experiences, bro.
I think I saw something about that like the other day too. It's so weird to think about that.
Like, I think, dude, there's theories that state that God is like dividing himself up into other shit, and we're like a result of that.
Yeah, I think I saw the same thing you're talking about.
Because you know the singularity, they call it the singularity. What happened before the Big Bang? There's one big ass, or just one point.
Yeah.
And then boom.
Yeah, it just exploded.
It's kind of a destruction of something that gave birth to all of this.
See, I didn't think about that.
It's a very sad like way of looking at shit, because they say that, you know, God.
So God's within then, if that's the case.
Dude, wow, bro. What a way to fucking add on to that, dude. Because this isn't
like,
original.
if you think about it, if he's cutting himself up to pieces and blowing up, then what are we? We're a piece of God.
Dude, I don't hate to keep, but like I'm afraid to keep saying Jesus' name, bro, because people don't like hearing that name a lot nowadays. But what he said was, cut a rock open, and you'll find God. You know, like look under a log and you'll find God. Like, because they were asking him, they were saying, where is God? You know, where's the kingdom of heaven? He said it's within and around you. And like, there's things that
makes sense then.
Dude, people like the problem. All these problems people have with the church, the Catholic Church, the Christian Church, they're problems that people created in the first place, bro.
Yeah, yep.
It's not like you know, God like it's not like there's people who think that, you know, God sat there and wrote the book, or like Jesus was like the God, like he is God. Jesus was trying to show people how to be like himself.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't trying to say that I'm better than you guys and I need to be here for everybody.
He was trying to be the messenger.
Yeah, he never said
the message across.
Exactly, bro. And like, people just misinterpret that as saying like, well,
he thinks he was better than everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, nah, like,
or other people think he's better than everyone else, or he thinks he's deserving of worship or whatever.
Yeah.
But Jesus was a teacher, not a God.
Yeah.
And I mean, a God, I guess, but he wasn't God. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all have that image of God within us. Like you said, to be alone is to be like God.
Yep.
And we all feel loneliness. We all feel how it is to be alone. And it's painful, but like you said, it is the best medicine and shit. And it shows you that like being God, bro, is not fun, bro. You wouldn't want to be God. Like, I remember I sat down during one of these shroom trips, and I'm all alone, and I'm thinking like, I'd think about someone and they'd hit my phone, because like my mind was so high in that
that's what I'm
vibrational
saying.
realm.
But you hit that sense of consciousness where it's like you're in control of everything at that point.
Yeah,
where it's like
everything,
you can literally
bro. Like I could push that shit from sitting over
here. You can
here.
move this fucking water bottle like without touching it. Like,
that's facts,
like,
bro.
It sounds like crazy.
You become like
you become
God
what
within.
you're around. Like,
yeah.
Like, I was doing like a meditation the other day, and it was like, I think it was a sense meditation where it was like you use all your senses with like your vision, your smell, your taste, and everything. And so I was looking at my candle because it was like an open eye meditation, and I was looking at it, and I was like, at that point I was like in the consciousness state of like I can control other things around me. So I was like looking at the fire, and I was like moving it like with my mind, and it started like, I looked to the left, it would start going to the left, and then I'd go to the right, go to the right. It was like, what the
That's fire, bro. That's
like,
it's real too.
crazy.
It's real, bro.
Like,
that shit's
it's
real.
not like magic. Like,
I know.
It's what we. It's just our power.
And it makes people uncomfortable, because they're like, dude, like, I didn't know I had that type of power.
Yeah.
I didn't know I could affect things like that. And that's where our ego comes into play. Our ego sits there and water shit down for us.
Yep.
Because we don't realize how much of an effect we have on everything.
Yeah.
So our ego has to be there to like kind of like be that guy who doesn't let us realize that, because we wouldn't be able to handle like the amount.
The ego's like the devil.
Yeah.
But
he's necessary.
Yeah.
He's
He
necessary.
is necessary. It
Like,
keeps you in check, but it also can hurt you.
very, very severely.
Yeah.
And I think like with the ego, like I think it's a buffer. It's like a insulator between the power within you and the effects that power can have on the world outside of you. Your ego, like you'd sit there during that meditation, you were doing that. But as soon as you get distracted, bro, like you go to do that again and you can't do it because you got other shit on your mind. It's not
and
clear.
I noticed when I did that, the flame started like flickering.
Yeah.
It was so weird.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It was just like I was tapped in.
Yeah, cause like you get to that point and then you start kind of getting uncomfortable with it because it's like overwhelming in a way, and then you're like okay, and then you run away from it, and then you can't get back for a second. And that's how everybody walks around in their sober mindset. They're just running away from their own power and responsibilities.
Yeah.
And you know that causes a lot of pain. It causes a lot of sadness. And,
Of course.
And it makes us have a bad outlook on the world. And one thing that I think is very important to be said is, don't watch the fucking news, bro.
Facts. I was gonna bring that up.
Don't watch the news.
I haven't
bro.
watched the news in 2 years, and I feel amazing.
Like it's
I watched it once because it was on TV. Like when my dad was out there, and it was like, I don't know, it just totally shoots your energy and your
it's just bullshit,
frequency
bro.
down.
It's like politics and shit, bro. It's it's necessary to a point, but like people like it's drama,
programming.
bro.
Yeah, it's drama, and it's like it's made to make you feel like shit.
You notice how the news like has all these dramatic shits that they're talking about.
Yeah.
That's so that they can get views, bro. The news,
it's all marketing. That's all it is.
Yeah, and the news knows it's the newspaper now, bro. It's not gonna be fucking watched anymore in a short amount of time. So it's doing everything it can to maintain.
Yeah.
And if that means
to
ruining
hook the
lives,
audience, so like they make those crazy headlines that may not even be accurate, just to get people watching, and then when they watch it, it makes them either fear-based, making their vibration go lower, and then they're in that state of mind where it's like, you know, they're just not in control of anything.
And
like,
in that fear base, they get comfortable almost. They're not comfortable, but they crave their fear, and they crave the drama, and they crave that shit because they're bored, bro.
Yeah.
Like if you really like, one thing I really like the thing about God, bro, is he's probably bored, bro, because it's like if you can control or maintain or do anything you want, then what would you want to do?
Yeah.
Like what would there be to do? Like our ego kind of shows us that there could be a challenge, and it makes us kind of go take the hard route sometimes, because it's like we could just say like at the end of the day, bro, nothing really fucking matters.
Yeah.
But our ego won't let us say that, bro.
True.
And that's a safety net, bro. That is what that is, because at the end of the day, shit does matter, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's up to you to decide what matters.
What matters.
Exactly.
Yep.
And you don't want to pick the wrong shit or whatever, but like also you don't want to take certain shit too lightly, and that's where your ego comes into play. It's like it's helpful, but it's just it's like a fucking like a really big dog, like from Sandlot, bro. Like you don't want that shit like around you when it's like in a bad mood, but like when someone comes to your house, bro, trying to do something, that dog's gonna fuck it up.
Yeah.
So it's like it's kind of like that's the ego.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good way to put it. That's deep, bro.
Yeah.
Like intuition too. Like I feel like.
Because it's all the moment, bro.
Yeah.
There's just no future, bro. You know what's gonna happen because it already is happening.
It's already it's happening now, but it also has happened if you really think about it.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to put into words.
It all fucking happens simultaneously, and it's up to you to process shit in the order that you can. So it's like through life, like like. Maybe, like, say an hour from now, I'm going to be smoking a cigarette, right? Not a cigarette. Obviously not. A joint.
Yeah.
An hour from now, if I'm smoking a joint, bro, like, that's already happened. Even though it's an hour from now.
Because you can already see it in your mind.
Not only that, if it does happen, it already did happen. It's just, like, it was up to me to, like, observe it. Like, quantum physics and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the cat in the box thing they talk about. They talk about how a particle becomes a particle only when it's observed. So it's like until then it's like a bundle of strings, and then it forms once you look at it. That's true, and that's in quantum physics. And that's something like no one likes to talk about quantum physics, bro, because it breaks all the rules of like everything we think we know. And like that, a lot of people obviously can't handle that, so no one talks about that shit. But like I think people should know that like there's like part of like on the smallest scale, like it's not an atom, it's something even smaller, but like it doesn't form until you look at it. And it's like that question that is asked sometimes: if a tree falls in the woods and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound?
That's
who could know, bro?
Yeah, nobody knows.
That's like the same thing, bro. And that shit is
it's real.
It's real, bro, and it's cool to think about that stuff. It's not always fun to get so caught up in the mix with like how society tries to like, you know, influence the general population, bro. It's not always like, sometimes that's entertaining, bro. Like sometimes, you know,
if you watch it without, you know, letting it affect you, like you see it for what it is. It's like this is shit. Like, they're literally just doing this to play with us. Like,
like they have the weather on there, so like, you know, people are like, oh, I put it on for the weather. Well,
and then they get caught. They get caught up in the shit that's after that. It's like it's a whole system.
Because it's fun, bro. It's fun to be distracted, bro. Because at the end of the day, bro, like we can't.
It distracts you from what you know you have to complete.
Yeah, like life is like a mountain that can never be fully climbed, bro. But certain people are gonna make it farther than others, bro. Yeah. And certain people know that they can never get to the top, so they're just never gonna try. Yeah. And like, they like getting caught up in the mix. They enjoy like I said this to someone else the other day at work. There's people who enjoy the fun and the like the entertainment of destruction, and then there's people who prefer the pain of building something. They crave the pain of accomplishment of building something. Yeah. So
it's like delayed gratification versus instant gratification.
Exactly, bro. Yeah. Exactly. And like, and there's always a happy medium there, bro. But like you shouldn't always need to be gratified in the first place. You know what I mean? It's like those have their own spectrum, but then that shit's its own shit that's on another spectrum, bro. And it's like you got to go through pain sometimes, and it's really the only thing that'll actually like send you. And you know this. I'm mostly talking to the audience. You got to go through pain, and you got to go through suffering. Like if you don't want to do that, then like I don't know what to tell you, man. Like that's the only way to actually be able to maintain and live. If you're not okay or comfortable, if you're always trying to run from or avoid suffering or pain of any sort, then you're not at your best self. You shouldn't crave, like, you shouldn't like inflict pain on yourself. Yeah. And you shouldn't crave it in an unhealthy way. But you should know when there's healthy pain to be felt, and like that you should attract to that. That's how I feel personally.
Yeah, for sure. Alright, so unfortunately the camera cut out right there. I think it overheated again from the stupid sound. But anyways, we covered a lot of valuable points, me and Blair. We're probably going to get a part 2 going. We're just talking about that.
100%, definitely.
Yeah, so
I'm definitely bummed out that, you know, the camera cut out. We got the audio and stuff, so, you know, that'll be available. Yeah. And like some of like about like how long was it that's available on?
I think like 13 more minutes, something like that. So I'm gonna try and post that onto Spotify. Get that all situated, so if you guys are doing stuff like running or something, you can listen to it.
100%.
But once again, this is Blair Kahler.
Yeah, thank you.
Check him out on Instagram. Right here.
This is the man Ian McQueeney, and I want everybody to appreciate Ian and what he's doing out here. And you know, he's really impressing me, and you know, I'm not easily impressed. So, like I said, thank you for this opportunity. And there's definitely gonna be a part 2 to come. So.
Oh yeah.
So just wait on that, and hopefully you guys resonate with some of the stuff we were talking about.
Of course, appreciate it. Well, once again, my name is Ian McQueeney. This has been Visionary Talks, episode 7, and we'll catch you guys on the flip. Peace out.